What do you think about eating insects instead of meat?
I think any way we can cut back eating meat is important.
What do you think about eating bugs?
Well, personally, I hate bugs, so I wouldn't. No,
So you wouldn't eat them?
definitely not.
Not even to save the planet?
Well, to save the planet, I might give it a little consideration and maybe try it, but I hate bugs.
Instead of a steak or a burger, no.
You would support if they started, phasing out some animal proteins for bug proteins?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Too many animals being butchered, contributing to, climate change, and we don't need all of it.
I'd rather stick to the meat. Hell no.
If it's for the environment, then definitely.
I'm Jeremy Loffredo for Rebel News in New York City. We're going to see how New Yorkers feel about replacing traditional animal-based proteins like chicken and beef with more experimental, sustainable, low-carbon proteins like crickets, mealworms, and bugs. The fact that the ruling class wants to replace nutritious meat and other animal proteins with insects has been deemed as conspiracy theory as recently as last year. But more recently, the elite and their obedient friends in the media have been pushing the idea of replacing supposedly dirty, unsustainable meat with bugs, crickets, mealworms, you name it. The World Economic Forum, the thought leaders of the global agenda, have recently gone into overdrive, pushing the bugs as food narrative. The WEF explains that eating insects can reduce climate change and that insects, quote, deserve a role in our diets. In regards to eating bugs, the WEF explained their goal is more than just publishing articles on the topic. They wish to change public perception and change public regulatory policy. They wrote that we, meaning them, need to, quote, overcome the last major barriers, which are preconceived ideas about insects as a source of food and legislation with regard to the use and consumption of proteins derived from insects. They argue that by 2050, the world's food supply will need to feed another 2 billion people. Insect farming for food could offer an environmentally friendly solution to the impending food crisis. According to this article, insects are, quote, a credible and efficient alternative protein source requiring fewer resources than conventional breeding, and a healthy ingredient that is highly digestible. PBS, which has received millions of dollars from the Gates Foundation, as recently as last week aired a new documentary pushing the bug-eating agenda. The documentary, Edible Insects, was promoted on their social media as being, quote, a tasty look at insect foods that could benefit our health and our warming planet. Last year, Time magazine, a strategic partner of the World Economic Forum, which had an entire magazine edition last year called The Great Reset, featured an article in their not-so-subtly titled 2030 edition, which called for the eating of insects to save the planet. The WEF partners said they are healthy and sustainable and asked why humans don't eat more bugs. In the article, readers can learn that the plan to feed everyone bugs is already being undertaken on the world's most vulnerable. International aid agency Catholic Relief Services, whose president and CEO is a partner of the World Economic Forum, is already giving cricket-based meals, which according to Time are fiber-rich, to hungry people and adding it into their initiative to supply children with more nutritious and sustainable school lunch programs. What do regular people think of this? Since regular people have little say or control over the decisions of our regulatory agencies, they'll likely have little say if crickets get introduced into our everyday foods or not. What do you think about eating insects instead of meat?
I think any way we can cut back eating meat is important.
What do you think about eating bugs?
Well, personally, I hate bugs, so I wouldn't. No,
So you wouldn't eat them?
definitely not.
Not even to save the planet?
Well, to save the planet, I might give it a little consideration and maybe try it, but I hate bugs.
Instead of a steak or a burger, no.
You would support if they started, phasing out some animal proteins for bug proteins?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Too many animals being butchered, contributing to, climate change, and we don't need all of it.
I'm more concerned about the fires and in our food processing plants, takeover of our farmland by billionaires. We've lived how many thousands of years with farming and animal husbandry, and suddenly we're supposed to go to crickets? I mean, come on. I'm sure that they're going to be targeting kids because it's going to be a cool factor for them.
Many adults that we've spoken to so far support the idea of eating crickets because they think it'll save the climate.
Oh, please. Oh, please. I've lived through 40, 50 climate hysterias in my life. Manhattan was supposed to already be covered with water. I don't see any rich people stopping their purchase of waterfront properties, given what's happening in Holland with the farmers. This is all coordinated, without a doubt.
Disgusting. That shit nasty. Well, it's your choice to do what you want to do, but you shouldn't put it in all foods. You should let people choose what they want to do with their shit.
They say it'll help the environment. Do you think it'll help the environment?
The government says a lot of shit that it's not true all the time, so you never really know with them.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think anything to help the climate, and I think the government should support it.
I'd be pretty questionable if I got like a burger that was like a cricket burger. I'd be pretty concerned.
It's actually probably a bit healthier and cleaner of protein than what you would get with those other kinds of meats. I think it would be hard to get people to hop on board. There would like be some reframing to be done, but
What do you mean by reframing?
a lot of people, there's like a stigma against eating bugs. Essentially, I feel like considered kind of nasty or just undesirable to a lot of people.
So there would need to be like a messaging like campaign that explains that bugs are actually clean and healthy.
I would think so. Yeah.
How do you feel about the government using taxpayer funds to incentivize more cricket and mealworm industrial farms and decentivize ranchers from raising cattle, chickens, and meat in general?
If that were to happen, I would think that would be really cool. Yeah.
How do you feel about substituting out, chicken and beef animal proteins for, mealworm, crickets, bug proteins? They say it'll help the climate.
Yeah, I mean, I think if people have that interest, as I understand it, it's a very robust source of protein. I'm all for that. On the other hand, I'm not, for being in a position as a consumer, an American consumer, being forced necessarily to go down a path such as insects and other, high protein sources.
I'd rather stick to the meat. Hell no. They're not gonna have insects on your plate. Whoever you are that's about to make this happen or trying to make this happen, I'm pretty sure you're not gonna be the ones eating this stuff or these things that you're trying to manufacture.
I feel that it's something that should be explored, and I think it could, really help our planet.
If it's less burdensome on the environment, I don't think it's a bad idea.
If it's for the environment, then definitely.
If you refuse to succumb to the World Economic Forum's new plan for the future of food, go to iwon'teatbugs.com and sign our petition. That's iwon'teatbugs.com.